Hi, friends. Welcome to our devotions today. One thing that is certain about life is that there is always change. Things don't stay the same for very long. And we have experienced massive change over the last couple of years. Who would ever have thought that we would have encountered the things that we've had to face? A pandemic has hit the world. We in our own province last year had to face looting and violence and disruption and destruction of all kinds. And we've just come through the most horrendous floods that this country has ever known. We've seen change, and we've had to learn how to cope with it, and it hasn't always been easy. When I think of my grandparents, what the massive changes were in their lives. I mean, just in terms of transport, when they were young, the main form of transport was horse and carriage. And then, of course, motor cars came on the scene, and then they saw the change to air travel. And then there was, of course, space travel, and they saw massive changes. We've seen technology change, those of us a bit older, in our lifetime. And we battle with that sometimes, but there have been huge changes. And if we look back upon our own lives, if you look at those old photographs of yourself 20, 30, 40, yes, changes happen. Well, no. Some changes are great. Oh, yes, there's some wonderful change. You fall in love. Oh, you get married, and you have your children. They arrive. You get the job that you hoped you would get, or you win a prize. You're successful at some of the things that you do. And there's some wonderful changes that do come to life. But of course, there are some huge challenges and some massive curved balls in life that bring changes that are not welcome. Illness can change our lives from one day to the next in a most dramatic way. There can be difficulties in relationships that go wrong that bring such change and loss to life. Retrenchment, people lose their jobs. Bereavement, when those who are close to us die and we can no longer enjoy their company near to us. And Jesus told a parable about change, and it's a well-known parable, and I would like to read it to you. It's from the end of the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew's Gospel, chapter 7, reading from verse 24. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall because it had its foundations on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. The change came. Suddenly the storm of life broke over this person. And the one who was built on the right foundation survived. The one who was built on sand fell with a great crash. Jesus says it depends upon what you're building on. And he says the one that can manage change and stand under the change and come through victorious in that change is one who hears what he says and hears what Jesus says and puts it into practice. What is he saying? And I believe there's just two things that are essential in what Jesus is saying to us. Number one, he's just in the Sermon on the Mount spoken about the way of love and the way of righteousness, God's way of holiness and love, and for that to be our moral code and to adopt it strictly in our lives. And secondly, Jesus' teaching, particularly in the Gospel of John, abide in me and I will abide in you, to stay in close and intimate fellowship with Jesus. Friends, no matter what storms may come, no matter how deep may be the valley, no matter how dark may be the days, God's way of love and righteousness and the presence of Jesus, who we can turn to, is the rock solid foundation. And I'm telling you, and I know that that foundation will hold fast, and you will come through, not without pain, not without struggle, not without difficulty, but you will come out having grown closer to God, deepened in your knowledge of his love, deepened in your faith, and knowing more certainly than ever that Jesus is for real. God bless you. Keep strong. Build on the rock. Bye for now.